Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy History Channel. Tonight, we journey through one of the most extraordinary stories ever told, the story of human invention. This is the tale of how sparks became engines, how marks on clay became libraries, and how bright ideas turned into tools that reshaped the world. Every object around you carries a hidden history. The light above, the road outside, the device in your hand, all trace their roots back to moments of daring insight. Across thousands of years, people have looked at stone, metal, wind, and electricity and asked a simple question. What if this could do more? From the first controlled flame to the rise of global networks, invention has stretched the limits of what it means to be human. It has lengthened lifespans, shrunk continents, and connected distant minds. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, let your breathing slow. Let your shoulders soften and your jaw unclench. Settle in as we wander through centuries of creativity and discovery. Let's begin. The wheel turned heavy loads into rolling motion and rewrote human travel. Before it appeared, moving stone or harvest usually meant dragging and grinding friction into the ground. A round rolling surface changed that problem into a smooth rhythm of turning. Early wheels likely grew from rollers and sledges, then became carts that could carry far more than a person. Once wheels met axles, transport gained stability and speed, and trade routes could stretch outward. Potters also used rotation to shape clay faster, which meant more vessels for storage and cooking. Over time, the same turning idea evolved into gears, pulleys, and crankshafts that multiplied human effort. Roads, wagons, mills, and machines all borrow that simple geometry. A circle is quiet in shape, yet it can pull civilization forward. Writing let knowledge outlive a voice and made history rememberable. Spoken words vanish as soon as the air stops moving, but marks can wait for centuries. The earliest systems began with practical needs, counting grain, tracking taxes, recording debts, and marking ownership. Cuneiform impressions in clay and ink on papyrus turned memory into an object you could store. Once people could fix language in place, laws became consistent and agreements became harder to deny. Writing also made stories portable, so a myth could travel farther than the storyteller. It allowed instructions to survive their inventors, which let crafts improve across generations. It made education scalable, because one teacher could reach many readers over time. Archives became a second brain for societies, and that changed what communities could build. The printing press made ideas copy themselves faster than any empire. Hand copying a book could take months, and errors crept in with every tired line. Movable type turned pages into repeatable patterns, so identical words could spread across cities in days. Printers standardized spelling and layout, which made reading easier for new audiences. Sudden abundance lowered the cost of learning and created a larger public hungry for news and debate. Pamphlets could argue, persuade, and provoke, while readers compared versions side by side. Scholars could cite the same text, which helped knowledge become shared and testable. Libraries grew, not because scribes worked faster, but because replication became mechanical. A press did not only multiply ink, it multiplied conversations, and conversations changed societies. The steam engine turned heat into movement and launched the Industrial Revolution. Coal fires had long provided warmth and cooking, but steam power made heat do mechanical work. The engines pumped water from mines, which allowed deeper digging and more fuel for more engines. James Watt's improvements reduced wasted energy and made rotary motion practical for factories. Suddenly, a mill no longer needed a fast river or a windy hill to keep machines running. Work shifted from seasonal rhythms to clock time because engines did not tire. Cities expanded around manufacturing, and railways later followed the logic of reliable power. Steam also changed ships, since vessels could move without waiting for favorable winds. This invention was not just a machine. It was a new relationship with energy, where burning fuel could be translated into motion on command. Electricity became usable power on demand and lit nights like daytime. Lightning had always been visible, but harnessing electric charge required patient experiments and clever devices. Discoveries about currents and circuits turned a strange force into something predictable. Generators could convert motion into electrical flow, and wires could carry it across long distances. Motors then reversed the trick, turning that flow back into motion for tools and machines. The result was a flexible energy that could drive a fan, heat a coil, or power a message. Cities began to glow after sunset, which changed work, safety, and social life. Factories gained cleaner power inside buildings, and homes gained new comforts and new hazards. Electricity also created new sciences, since measuring charge revealed patterns hidden in matter. A once fearful spark became a controllable resource, and the modern world switched on. The transistor put switching into silicon and made modern computers possible. Vacuum tubes could amplify signals, but they were fragile, hot, and prone to failure. At Bell Labs, the transistor replaced glass and filaments with solid materials that behaved more reliably. It could act like a tiny gate, turning currents on and off to represent information. That simple switching ability scaled, because smaller parts could be packed together without melting. Radios became portable, then calculators became pocket-sized, and computers began shrinking from rooms to desks. Each reduction lowered cost and increased access, which invited more people to build new uses. Transistors also improved communications, since clearer amplification meant better long-distance signals. Eventually, millions of them could be etched onto a single chip, which made complex logic routine. A nearly invisible component became the heartbeat of the digital age. The internet connected billions of minds and reshaped commerce and culture. Its roots lie in a problem of resilience, how to keep communication working even if parts fail. Packet switching broke messages into pieces, so information could travel many routes and still arrive intact. Early networks linked universities and laboratories, where sharing data mattered as much as sharing equipment. Standards like TCP and IP allowed different systems to speak one language, which made growth explosive. Email became a daily habit, then the web made browsing feel natural and visual. Businesses discovered global storefronts, and communities formed around interests rather than geography. News sped up, for better and for worse, and new challenges appeared around privacy and misinformation. The internet also became a library of tutorials, maps, and research that anyone could reach. A network built for connection became a new layer of society, one that never sleeps. Gunpowder shifted power from castles to cannons and changed warfare forever. This mixture of charcoal, sulfur, and saltpeter began as an experiment, then became a force that could break stone. In China, early uses included fireworks and rockets that showed how trapped energy could erupt into motion. When the formula traveled, it reshaped battlefields by rewarding engineers as much as knights. Cannons could batter walls that once seemed permanent, so fortresses had to change shape or fall. Firearms reduced the advantage of lifelong sword training since a new recruit could learn to shoot. States invested in foundries, supply chains, and standardized weapons, which strengthened centralized power. Gunpowder also altered navies, because ships carried guns that decided trade routes and empires. A single chemical reaction redrew maps, one thunderous burst at a time. The smartphone put a global toolbox in a pocket and changed daily life. It blended earlier inventions into one object: a phone, a camera, a computer, and a navigator. Touch screens turned fingers into input devices, so complex tasks felt direct and fast. Sensors could notice movement, light, and orientation, which allowed apps to respond like living instruments. High-quality cameras made photography constant and changed how events are recorded and remembered. Messaging and video calls made distance feel smaller and reshaped friendships and families. Entire industries shifted, from taxis to banking, because services moved into screens. The same convenience also demanded attention, since notifications can tug at the mind all day. In many places, a smartphone became the first personal computer someone ever owned. It is an invention that travels with you and quietly reshapes how you see time, place, and other people. Controlled fire made cooked food easier to digest and fueled bigger brains. When early humans learned to keep flames alive, they gained more than warmth and light. Cooking breaks down tough fibers and denatures proteins, which means the same meal can deliver more usable energy with less chewing. That advantage matters in a body that spends a huge share of its calories running a brain. Fire also made unfamiliar foods safer, because heat kills many parasites and reduces some natural toxins. Nighttime changed too. A hearth extended waking hours and created a reliable circle for teaching, planning, and storytelling. Predators kept their distance, and camps became easier to defend. Fire hardened wooden spear points and later allowed clay and metals to be transformed. In a sense, a controlled blaze was the first tool that could reshape other tools, using heat as a kind of invisible hammer. Stone tools extended human hands and made survival more reliable. A sharp edge is simple, but it can unlock an entire way of living. Knapped stone can slice hides for shelter, cut meat cleanly from bone, and shape wood into handles, traps, and frames. With dependable blades, food processing becomes faster, which frees time for travel and learning. Different tasks inspired different forms. Scrapers work a hide, points pierce, and hand axes combine chopping with slicing. Some stones travel far from their sources, which hints at early trade or long seasonal journeys. Toolmaking also teaches planning, because a good flake begins with choosing the right rock and striking at the right angle. In the hands of a skilled maker, a stone becomes an idea made solid. Over generations, those ideas accumulated, and reliability became a kind of quiet power. The needle and thread turned hides into fitted clothing and enabled cold living. A loose wrap can keep you warm, but stitched seams can keep you alive. With a needle, people could pierce tough materials and pull fiber through in a controlled line. That made tailored clothing possible, with sleeves, hoods, and snug joints that trap heat. It also allowed layered garments, boots that stayed on, and mittens that protected fingers for tool making. Sewing expanded what could be carried, because bags and pouches became durable and secure. A traveler could keep food dry, protect fire-starting materials, and transport precious items over long distances. Over time, stitching became a language of identity too, with patterns and decorations that signaled community and skill. The invention is quiet, but its consequences are enormous. It helped humans settle higher latitudes, cross harsh seasons, and make homes where winter once ruled. The bow and arrow made distance a weapon and transformed hunting. Before this technology, hunters often needed to get dangerously close to an animal that could kick, gore, or outrun them. A bent stave storing energy changed the odds. Draw the string back, and the wood holds potential like a coiled spring. Release it, and that stored force becomes speed, driving a light shaft far beyond arm's reach. This meant hunters could work in teams with new roles, including trackers, drivers, and skilled archers. It also meant smaller game became more attainable, which diversified diets and reduced reliance on risky encounters. Bows encouraged careful craft because success depends on balanced wood, strong cordage, and straight arrows with stable fletching. Practice mattered, and so did patience. In a single moment, a hunter could reach across space and time, choosing the exact second to act. Distance became strategy, not just separation. Pottery let people store grain and water, and supported settled communities. Clay seems ordinary until it meets heat. Shape a vessel, dry it, fire it, and you gain a container that resists rot, pests, and weather. That changed the meaning of a harvest. Grain could be stored safely through lean months, and water could be carried farther from a river or spring. With storage comes planning, and with planning comes settlement. Families could remain near fields, build sturdier homes, and grow into villages. Pots also transformed cooking because boiling and simmering become practical, which makes more foods edible and more flavors possible. Some vessels were sealed for fermentation, which created new staples and safer drinks. Pottery shards are nearly indestructible, so they become time capsules for archaeologists, preserving fingerprints, soap stains, and painted symbols. A fired pot is a humble object with a bold implication. It says, "Tomorrow matters, and we are preparing for it." Irrigation turned dry land into fields and multiplied food supplies. Rain is generous, but it is also unpredictable. When communities learned to guide water deliberately, they gained a new kind of control over survival. Canals, ditches, and gates could bring river water onto thirsty soil, then move it onward before it stagnated. That made harvests steadier, which supported larger populations and more specialized work. Engineers had to study slopes and seasons because too little water fails and too much invites salt buildup or ruin. Irrigation also demanded cooperation. Channels need maintenance, and schedules decide who waters when. That coordination helped shape laws, leadership, and records. In some regions, the same networks reduced flooding by directing excess flow into managed paths. Over time, irrigated landscapes became human-made ecosystems, with fields, reeds, fish, and birds all responding to controlled water. A redirected stream can feed an entire civilization, one carefully measured flow at a time. The plow cut soil efficiently and made large-scale farming practical. Planting with a digging stick works, but it keeps harvest tied to muscle and small plots. A plow changes the relationship with the ground. By slicing and turning soil, it buries weeds, opens space for roots, and creates rows that can be planted and tended with greater speed. When animals began pulling plows, a single farmer could work far more land than before. That surplus supported growing towns, markets, and craftspeople who did not farm full-time. The plow also reshaped landscapes because fields expanded and forests retreated. In heavy soils, improved designs mattered, since a better moldboard could turn earth cleanly instead of dragging. Farming became less about constant scraping and more about planning rotations, managing manure, and timing seasons. This tool is not only about food. It is about scale, because scale changes everything a society can afford to build. The sail harnessed wind power and opened oceans to trade. A paddle depends on strength and endurance, but wind can push a vessel for days without tiring. When sails became reliable, boats turned into true vehicles, not just floating platforms. Mariners could follow coastlines farther, then begin crossing open water with cargo, animals, and people. Trade widened. Stone, timber, metals, dyes, and spices could move between distant regions, along with stories and technologies. Sailing also demanded new skills. Crews read clouds, currents, and seasonal patterns, and learned how different sail shapes behave. Tacking made it possible to travel against the wind by zigzagging through it, which turned a limitation into a technique. Ports grew into meeting places where languages mixed and goods changed hands. Sail power is ancient renewable energy, and it built early global connections long before engines existed. A sheet of cloth, angled into the air, became a lever that moved history. The compass gave direction without landmarks and expanded long voyages. On a clear day, the sun and stars can guide you, but clouds and fog can erase the sky. A magnetized needle solved that problem by pointing steadily toward magnetic north. Once sailors trusted that pointer, they could navigate through featureless seas with less fear of drifting off course. This changed exploration and commerce, because routes no longer required constant sight of shore. It also improved map-making, since headings could be recorded and compared across journeys. The compass worked at night, during storms, and in unfamiliar waters, which made planning more ambitious. Of course, it was not perfect, because magnetic north is not true north, and local variation can mislead. That challenge pushed navigation to become more precise, pairing compass bearings with charts and later with other instruments. A small needle floating in a housing may look modest, yet it gave travelers a portable sense of direction, even when the world offered none. The astrolabe helped sailors read the sky and navigate with confidence. If you can measure the height of a star above the horizon, you can estimate your latitude, which is your north-south position on Earth. The astrolabe made that measurement practical at sea, turning the night sky into a usable map. A navigator could align sights, read an angle, and translate it into a position using tables and experience. This mattered because oceans do not offer mile markers, and coastlines can vanish for weeks. The tool also brought astronomy into daily work, linking scholars and sailors in a shared problem of location. Over time, improvements in instruments and methods grew from the same impulse, which is to make the heavens speak in numbers you can trust. An astrolabe could also tell time and help track the sun's path across seasons. It is a reminder that navigation is not only courage. It is calculation, observation, and the willingness to learn from the sky. The water wheel turned rivers into machinery and powered early industry. A flowing river looks peaceful, yet it carries steady force day and night. When people learned to catch that force with paddles and turn it into rotation, they gained power that did not depend on muscles. A mill could grind grain while the village slept, and that meant more food with less back-breaking labor. In some places, wheels drove bellows for furnaces, hammers for shaping metal, and fulling mills that thickened cloth. Engineers learned to shape channels, control flow, and protect wooden parts from wear, which pushed craftsmanship forward. Water power also encouraged new kinds of settlements, because workshops gathered where streams could be trusted. It is easy to forget how radical that was. A river became a worker you did not have to feed, and once that idea took hold, the door opened to larger machines. The windmill turned air into work and ground grain at scale. Wind is invisible, but it can be persuaded to do useful labor if you give it a surface to push. A windmill's sails turn that restless motion into a predictable spin, and a spin can drive millstones, pumps, and simple machines. In flat regions without strong rivers, this was a breakthrough. Grain could be processed near the fields, and water could be lifted from low land to keep it livable and farmable. Millers became specialists who listened to weather and adjusted angle and tension like musicians tuning an instrument. Whole landscapes changed as towers and sails appeared on horizons, turning seasonal breezes into daily bread. Windmills also taught builders about gearing and torque, because a slow-turning shaft often needs to become fast, smooth motion inside. It is renewable power in an ancient form, and it helped communities thrive where geography seemed limiting. Paper made writing lighter than clay and spread literacy farther. Clay tablets and carved stone can last a long time, but they are heavy companions for an idea. Paper changed that by giving words a surface that was portable, stackable, and easy to duplicate by hand. Suddenly, records could travel with merchants, teachers, and travelers rather than staying locked in temples or palaces. Schools could use sheets for practice, and governments could keep archives without building monuments to store them. Paper also welcomed new tools. Brushes, pens, and inks could move quickly across it, which made writing feel less like carving and more like flowing speech. Over time, that speed encouraged diaries, letters, and manuals that captured everyday life as well as grand events. The real miracle is how ordinary it became. A thin sheet turned language into luggage, and it made knowledge easier to carry across both distance and generations. The abacus externalized calculation and sped up trade and accounting. Counting in your head can work for small numbers, but commerce quickly demands more reliability than memory. The abacus gave people a physical way to hold quantities outside the mind, with beads that stand in for value and place. Slide a bead, and the result stays put, waiting for the next step. That stability makes complex arithmetic less intimidating, which is why merchants and clerks embraced it for prices, taxes, and inventory. Skilled users can add and subtract with startling speed, not because the abacus thinks for them, but because it keeps the work organized and visible. It also reduces mistakes, since you can retrace moves and catch errors before they become costly. In busy marketplaces, that mattered. A simple frame with moving pieces helped turn bargaining into bookkeeping, and bookkeeping into larger, more confident economies. Zero made place value work smoothly and unlocked modern mathematics. Imagine trying to write a number with a missing place and no symbol for the gap. Without zero, a lot of arithmetic becomes a fog of ambiguity. Zero solves that by marking an empty place in a system where position carries meaning. It allows 10 to be clearly different from 1, and 100 to be clearly different from 10. That sounds basic, yet it is the foundation under everyday calculation, from measuring land to tracking debts. Zero also invites a deeper idea. It treats nothing as something you can name, write, and use. That leap made algebra cleaner, and it made later concepts like negative numbers and coordinate systems far easier to handle. Once you can represent absence precisely, you can build rules around it. A small circle on a page became a tool for clarity, and clarity is often what turns curiosity into discovery. Hindu-Arabic numerals made arithmetic efficient and replaced clumsy number systems. Some older number systems look impressive, but they can make multiplication feel like wrestling. The Hindu-Arabic numerals, with their compact digits and place value structure, turned calculation into a repeatable craft that ordinary people could learn. You could write large quantities without running out of symbols, and you could use standard methods to add, subtract, multiply, and divide on a page. That mattered for merchants balancing accounts, for builders estimating materials, and for astronomers working with cycles of time. As these numerals spread through scholarship and trade routes, they helped create a shared numerical language across regions. That shared language made knowledge easier to exchange, because a result written in one city could be understood in another without translation into a different counting style. Over time, the numerals became so familiar that we stopped noticing the invention. Yet every receipt, schedule, and calculation still rides on that elegant set of symbols. Mechanical clocks made time measurable and changed work and worship. Before reliable clocks, time was often read from shadows, bells, and the feel of the day. Mechanical timekeeping brought a different kind of precision, using gears and controlled motion to divide hours consistently. That consistency allowed communities to coordinate. Markets could open at agreed moments, meetings could begin on schedule, and long journeys could be planned with clearer expectations. In monasteries and churches, regular hours shaped prayers and routines, and those routines shaped the rhythm of turns around them. Over time, public clocks on towers turned time into a shared reference point, like a common language spoken in chimes. Precision also bred new ambitions. Navigators and scientists needed accurate timing to compare observations, and clockmakers kept improving accuracy to meet that demand. A clock does not only tell you what time it is. It quietly teaches a society to think in measured intervals, and that changes how people value a day. Eyeglasses extended human sight and kept craftspeople skilled for longer. As people age, close work often becomes harder, and that can end a career built on detail. Eyeglasses offered a simple rescue. Shaped lenses bend light so it focuses properly again, which brings letters and fine edges back into clarity. That meant scribes could keep reading, seamstresses could keep stitching, and artisans could keep carving and engraving. The impact is easy to underestimate. Experience is valuable, yet without clear vision, experience cannot always be used. Glasses helped knowledge stay in the hands that had earned it, instead of being lost early. They also made study more accessible, because learners could read longer without strain, and teachers could keep teaching. Over time, the craft of lens grinding improved, and that improvement fed into other instruments that rely on precise optics. A pair of lenses may look modest, but it protects a lifetime of skill, and it stretches human capability across more years. The microscope revealed hidden life and launched modern biology. For most of history, the smallest world was a mystery that people could only imagine. The microscope changed that by magnifying details until they became landscapes. Suddenly, a drop of pond water was crowded with moving forms, and a scrape from teeth could show a busy community of tiny organisms. This discovery did more than amaze. It gave medicine new suspects, and it gave science a new scale to investigate. Cells became visible as the building blocks of plants and animals, which helped explain growth, healing, and disease. Researchers could compare tissues, observe reproduction in miniature, and track patterns that the naked eye misses completely. Each improvement in lenses brought new surprises, as if the world kept unfolding beneath the surface. The microscope is an invitation to humility. It reminds us that our senses are only one version of reality, and that whole ecosystems can exist in spaces we once called empty. The telescope expanded the universe overnight and challenged Earth-centered beliefs. Look up with unaided eyes, and the sky seems like a dome of distant lights. Look through a telescope, and that dome breaks open. Moons appear around other planets, phases appear on Venus, and the Milky Way begins to resolve into countless stars. Observations like these gave weight to new models of the cosmos, because they offered evidence you could see rather than philosophy you could argue. Telescopes also revealed that change exists in the heavens, from sunspots to comets to distant explosions that later generations would measure more carefully. Over centuries, larger instruments gathered more light, which let astronomers peer deeper into space and further back in time. The emotional effect is hard to separate from the scientific one. A telescope makes the universe feel larger, and it makes our place within it feel more precise. It is a tool that turns wonder into observation, and observation into understanding. Vaccination turned a tiny exposure into protection and saved countless lives. For much of history, smallpox was a rolling disaster that scarred faces and ended lives. Communities noticed that survivors rarely caught it again, which hinted at a hidden training of the body. Practices like variolation used controlled exposure, though they carried real risk. Edward Jenner's work with cowpox offered a safer path, and the idea spread with astonishing speed. Vaccination created a way to prevent illness before it struck, which changed medicine from rescue to defense. It also demanded organization, because doses had to reach towns, ships, and frontiers. Over generations, that planning grew into campaigns that tracked outbreaks and protected whole regions. Smallpox was eventually eradicated, a rare victory against a human disease. Protection began with a puncture, then expanded into a public promise. The mechanical press made uniform metal parts and enabled mass production. Before presses and precision dies, metalwork often depended on individual skill, and two identical parts could still refuse to fit. Pressing changed that by forcing hot or cold metal into consistent shapes again and again with the same dimensions. Coins became harder to counterfeit because details could be stamped cleanly. Hardware like hinges and fasteners became more predictable, which made building and repair less of a gamble. In armories and workshops, uniform parts meant you could assemble complex objects faster, then replace a broken piece without remaking the whole thing. That idea quietly rewired industry. It pushed the need for better measurements, stronger steels, and smoother machine surfaces. A press is not only about force, it is about repeatability. When a society learns to repeat a shape reliably, it learns to scale almost everything. The spinning jenny multiplied thread output and reshaped textiles and labor. Thread looks simple, yet making it by hand can swallow entire days. The spinning jenny changed that rhythm by letting one worker spin multiple threads at once, using a coordinated frame rather than a single spindle. More thread meant more cloth, and cloth was one of the great necessities of everyday life. As output rose, weaving faced pressure to keep up, which pulled more invention into the textile chain. Homes that once spun as part of family life began to compete with organized workshops, and later with factories that gathered machines under one roof. That shift altered where people worked, how they were paid, and how communities were structured. Clothes became more available, and fashion could change faster when fabric was not so scarce. The jenny is often remembered as a machine, but it was also a turning point in time itself. It sped up a basic human need, then tugged whole societies along with it. The cotton gin sped fiber cleaning and transformed agriculture and industry. Cotton is soft in your hands, but separating its lint from sticky seeds can be painfully slow work. The cotton gin changed that by mechanizing the cleaning step, pulling usable fiber through while leaving seeds behind. That made cotton processing dramatically faster, and it made cotton cloth cheaper and more widespread. Textile mills hungry for fiber could now be fed at a new scale, which tied farms to factories in a tight loop of demand. The consequences were not only economic. In parts of the world where enslaved labor already existed, easier processing increased the profitability of cotton cultivation and deepened horrific systems of exploitation. Technology can brighten lives and darken them at the same time, depending on who holds power. The cotton gin is a lesson in that double edge. A clever mechanism accelerated an industry, and it also intensified moral crises that history still reckons with. Interchangeable parts made repairs predictable and scaled manufacturing worldwide. Imagine a broken tool that cannot be fixed because no replacement fits. Interchangeable parts solved that frustration by aiming for components made to the same standard, so one piece could substitute for another. This idea turned repair into a practical promise, not a lucky coincidence. It also changed production. Factories could assign tasks to specialized machines and workers, knowing the outputs would align during assembly. Firearms, clocks, and later bicycles and engines all benefited, because complex objects became buildable at scale without endless hand-fitting. Standardization demanded better gauges, tighter tolerances, and a culture that cared about measurement as much as craftsmanship. It also helped global trade, because parts could be shipped and stocked, and maintenance could happen far from the original maker. In many ways, interchangeable parts are invisible infrastructure. You notice them only when they fail, yet they underpin modern convenience, from appliances to aviation. The steam locomotive shrank continents and made inland trade routine. Before railways, moving heavy goods over land was slow, expensive, and vulnerable to weather. The steam locomotive changed that by pulling tons across long distances with steady force, guided by steel rails that reduced friction. Suddenly, coal could reach factories, grain could reach cities, and people could travel with a speed that once sounded like fantasy. Time itself began to tighten. Towns started caring about schedules, and stations became new centers of life and commerce. Railways also stitched regions together politically, because moving soldiers, mail, and supplies became faster and more reliable. The sound of a train was more than noise. It was an announcement that distance was losing its authority. Landscapes changed as bridges, tunnels, and cuttings carved new corridors through hills and valleys. The locomotive did not only move objects, it moved possibilities. It made inland places feel closer to ports, markets, and each other, and it rewrote what far away meant. The canal lock lifted ships between levels and tamed rivers for commerce. Waterways are natural highways, but they come with a stubborn problem. Water does not stay at one height. A canal lock solved that by creating a sealed chamber where a boat could rise or fall as gates opened and closed in sequence. It is a simple idea with breathtaking impact. With locks, canals could cross uneven terrain, linking river basins and turning inland towns into trading hubs. Heavy cargo that would have wrecked roads could glide smoothly, lowering costs and encouraging larger markets. Locks also demanded careful engineering, because leaks, weak gates, or poor foundations could ruin an entire route. Many canals became national projects that required money, coordination, and long-term planning, which influenced politics as much as transport. A lock feels like a pause, a quiet wait between gates. Yet that pause is what lets a ship climb a hillside. It turns geography from a barrier into a puzzle with a solution. Refrigeration slowed decay and reshaped diets and global shipping. For most of human history, food had a short deadline, and that deadline shaped daily life. Refrigeration stretched that window by lowering temperatures enough to slow microbial growth and chemical changes that cause spoilage. That meant fresh milk, meat, and produce could last longer at home, and it meant markets could sell foods that once had to be eaten immediately. On ships and trains, cold storage opened long-distance trade in perishables, which connected farms to faraway cities and changed what people considered normal to eat. It also improved medicine and science by preserving samples, blood products, and temperature-sensitive supplies. The technology evolved from ice houses to mechanical systems, and it carried new responsibilities like safe handling and reliable power. Refrigeration is easy to take for granted because it hums quietly in the background. Yet it reorganized kitchens, supermarkets, and entire supply chains. It let seasons loosen their grip, and it made abundance feel closer. Canning sealed food safely and fed cities through winters and wars. A sealed container can look unremarkable, yet it can hold back time. Canning works by heating food to reduce microbes, then closing it so new contamination cannot enter. This made it possible to store meals for months or years without constant salting or drying, and it transformed how armies, ships, and growing cities were supplied. Suddenly, a harvest could be preserved as soups, vegetables, and meats that traveled anywhere. People in dense urban areas gained a buffer against shortages, and explorers carried dependable calories into harsh environments. Canning also encouraged new industries, from tin plate production to labeling and standard weights, because trust depends on consistency. It changed home cooking too, since pantries became more strategic, stocked against storms, illness, or economic hardship. There is a quiet comfort in a sealed can. It promises that earlier labor will still matter later. In moments of crisis, that promise has kept people alive. Pasteurization made milk safer and reduced deadly infections dramatically. Milk can be nourishing, yet it can also carry unseen danger when produced and transported without careful hygiene. Pasteurization reduces that risk by heating liquids to a controlled temperature for a controlled time, which lowers the load of harmful microbes without fully cooking the product. As cities grew and milk traveled farther from farms, this process became a public health turning point. It helped curb outbreaks linked to contaminated dairy, and it made a staple food more dependable for children. Pasteurization also shaped how societies thought about safety. It showed that invisible life could be managed with consistent procedures, not just hope and luck. The same approach expanded to other foods and drinks, supporting safer distribution at scale. There were debates and resistance. As with many health measures, yet the logic of prevention proved powerful. Pasteurization is not dramatic like a new machine with gears and smoke. It is a measured routine, and routines can save more lives than heroics. The modern sewer turned sanitation into infrastructure and saved urban lives. When many people live close together, waste stops being a private problem and becomes a shared hazard. Modern sewer systems tackled that by moving wastewater away from homes through networks of pipes, then treating it instead of letting it seep into streets and drinking sources. This reduced the spread of waterborne diseases and made dense cities far more survivable. Sewers also changed dignity and daily comfort because households gained cleaner surroundings and more reliable hygiene. Building them required surveying, tunneling, pumps, and long-term maintenance, which meant governments had to invest in public works that were mostly invisible. That invisibility is part of the triumph. When sanitation works, it disappears from thought, and life goes on without constant fear of contamination. Modern sewage treatment also protects rivers and coastlines by reducing pollutants, which benefits ecosystems as well as people. A sewer is not glamorous, yet it is one of the strongest foundations of modern health. It is civilization doing the uncelebrated work that keeps everything else possible. Anesthesia made surgery humane and opened new frontiers in medicine. Before pain control, an operation was a race against screaming, shock, and sheer terror. Surgeons had to be fast, not because speed was elegant, but because the human body could only endure so much agony. When anesthesia arrived, the entire mood of the operating room changed. Patients could be kept still, breathing could be watched, and careful steps became possible. Surgeons could attempt repairs that demanded patience, like removing deep tumors, setting complex fractures, or operating inside the abdomen. It also reshaped trust. People who once avoided hospitals at all costs could consider treatment without fearing unbearable torment. Anesthesia did not make surgery safe by itself, yet it made surgery truly usable as a tool of healing. It turned the knife from a last resort into a planned intervention, and it expanded what medicine could even imagine. Antiseptics made surgery safer and cut infection deaths sharply. Even after anesthesia, many patients died days later from invisible enemies that entered through a wound. The breakthrough was realizing that infection was not bad air or bad luck. It was often living microbes carried on hands, instruments, and dressings. Antiseptics changed the story by attacking contamination directly. When surgical teams began cleaning wounds, tools, and skin with disinfecting agents, survival rates improved in ways that felt almost miraculous. Operating rooms evolved from ordinary spaces into controlled environments, and surgeons learned that cleanliness was a life-saving skill. This shift also transformed hospitals. Wards became less like places to catch new illness and more like places to recover. Antiseptics did not require a new kind of hero. They required a new kind of discipline, repeated every time, even when nobody was watching. That repeated care helped turn surgery into a science rather than a gamble. X-rays made bones visible through skin and revolutionized diagnosis. Imagine being able to look inside a living body without making a single cut. X-rays offered that strange power, turning hidden structures into shadows on a plate. Doctors could finally confirm a fracture's shape, locate a swallowed object, or see whether a bullet remained lodged. This changed emergency care fast because treatment could be guided by evidence instead of guesswork and touch. It also changed how people understood illness. The body became something you could inspect, measure, and compare over time. X-rays created new specialties, new safety questions, and new habits in hospitals, where imaging became part of routine decision-making. For patients, the experience could feel like magic. You stand still, there is a brief exposure, and then a picture appears that reveals what your own eyes cannot. A once mysterious interior became readable, and medicine became more confident. Blood typing made transfusions safer and changed emergency care. Early blood transfusions were sometimes life-saving and sometimes lethal, with outcomes that seemed cruelly random. The missing piece was compatibility. Blood comes in different types, and the immune system reacts fiercely to the wrong match. Once these groups were identified and tested, transfusion became far more predictable. Doctors could replace blood lost in childbirth, trauma, or surgery, with less fear of a catastrophic reaction. This also made blood banking possible. Donations could be collected, stored, and matched to recipients when minutes mattered. On battlefields and in ambulances, the ability to give compatible blood changed what survival looked like. People who would have faded from shock could be stabilized long enough for further treatment. Blood typing also shaped a new kind of teamwork between donors, laboratories, and clinicians. A label on a small vial became a bridge between strangers, and it turned shared biology into shared rescue. Antibiotics turned once fatal infections treatable and transformed life expectancy. For centuries, a small cut could become a death sentence, and pneumonia could sweep through families with terrifying speed. Antibiotics changed that by targeting bacteria directly, stopping them from growing or killing them outright. Suddenly, infections that once filled graveyards could be treated with a course of medicine. Surgery became safer because post-operative infections could often be controlled. Childbirth became less deadly when dangerous bacterial complications were no longer unstoppable. Antibiotics also reshaped daily life in quieter ways. People could survive illnesses that would have left children orphaned and communities depleted. Yet the story comes with a warning. Overuse encourages resistant strains, which means this gift can be weakened by carelessness. Antibiotics are not a magic shield. They are a powerful tool that demands wise stewardship. Still, their arrival marked a turning point, where humanity began to win battles against microbes that had ruled for millennia. Insulin therapy turned diabetes manageable and saved millions of children. Before insulin treatment, a diagnosis of juvenile diabetes often meant a slow fading, no matter how careful the family tried to be. The body could not properly use sugar from food, and starvation diets were sometimes the only option to buy time. Insulin changed that grim horizon. With injections, blood sugar could be controlled, energy could return, and children could grow into adulthood. This was not only a medical breakthrough, it was a transformation of daily routine, with meals planned, symptoms monitored, and doses adjusted over time. Families learned a new language of care, and clinicians built new standards for long-term management. Later advances brought purer forms, better dosing tools, and more reliable testing, which further reduced danger. Insulin therapy did not cure diabetes, yet it turned a rapidly fatal condition into a life that could be lived fully, with school, work, love, and old age back on the table. Oral rehydration therapy saved children from dehydration, using simple salts. Diarrheal diseases can kill quickly, not always through infection alone, but through the loss of water and vital electrolytes. The astonishing part is that the rescue can be simple. A precise mixture of clean water, salt, and sugar helps the intestine absorb fluid again, even while illness continues. This turns a downward spiral into a manageable situation, where the body can keep functioning until recovery. Oral rehydration therapy does not require advanced machines or specialized hospitals. It can be delivered in rural clinics, disaster zones, and homes, wherever caregivers can mix and measure. That practicality is why it has saved so many young lives around the world. It also taught public health a powerful lesson. Sometimes the most important invention is not complex. It is a method that works under pressure, in heat, in poverty, and in chaos. A humble solution became one of medicine's greatest victories. The hypodermic syringe delivered drugs precisely and changed treatment speed. Medicine used to depend heavily on swallowing, rubbing, or inhaling, which can be slow or unpredictable. The hypodermic syringe created a direct route into the body, delivering a measured dose exactly where it is needed, fast. Pain relief could be immediate. Vaccines and life-saving drugs could be administered with controlled quantity. In emergencies, a syringe could make the difference between a spiraling crisis and a stabilized patient. It also changed research, because physicians could test effects with clearer timing and dosage. Yet this invention demanded responsibility. Sterility became essential, and reuse could spread disease if handled carelessly. That challenge pushed improvements in sanitation, training, and later disposable equipment. The syringe is a small tool that can feel intimidating, yet its precision is its power. It made medicine more exact, more rapid, and more capable of acting in the narrow windows where life turns. The stethoscope amplified internal sounds and improved bedside diagnosis. Before modern imaging, a doctor often relied on what could be seen, what could be felt, and what the patient could describe. The stethoscope added a new sense. It brought the hidden music of the body to the ear, letting clinicians hear heart murmurs, lung crackles, and subtle rhythms of breathing. That changed diagnosis at the bedside because patterns in sound can point to fluid, narrowing airways, or valve problems long before they become obvious. It also changed the doctor-patient encounter. Listening became a focused ritual, quiet, attentive, and personal. Over time, students learned to recognize distinct sounds like a language, building skill through practice and careful comparison. The stethoscope also encouraged a more systematic approach to Even in an age of scammers and screens, that simple instrument remains a symbol of care. It reminds us that the body speaks, and trained ears can hear its warnings. The thermometer made fever measurable and turned illness into numbers. Fever used to be judged by touch, by flushed cheeks, or by a general sense that someone felt hot. The thermometer changed that into measurement. A single reading could show whether a temperature was rising, falling, or stubbornly high. That allowed doctors and caregivers to track illness over time and to decide when a situation was improving or becoming dangerous. It also supported safer treatment, since medicines that lower fever could be used with clearer purpose and timing. In hospitals, temperature charts became part of routine observation, and patterns helped reveal infections that might otherwise be missed. For families, the thermometer brought reassurance or urgency in moments of uncertainty. It made the invisible battle inside the body more legible. Measurement does not replace wisdom, yet it sharpens it. When you can quantify a symptom, you can communicate it better, compare it reliably, and respond with greater confidence. The telegraph sent messages faster than horses and tightened nations together. Before electric signaling, urgent news moved at the speed of hooves, sails, and road conditions. The telegraph replaced that delay with a pulse, tapping words into dots and dashes that could cross vast distances in minutes. Suddenly, a stock price in one city could influence decisions in another the same day. Railways used telegraph lines to coordinate trains, which reduced collisions and made timetables believable. Governments could respond to crises faster, and newspapers could report events with a freshness that once felt impossible. It also changed language. Messages became shorter because each word cost time and money, which gave rise to a clipped style that still echoes in modern texting. The telegraph made distance feel negotiable. It was the first time information truly outran physical travel, and society never fully went back. The telephone carried voices across distance and changed business and family life. A letter can be thoughtful, but it cannot answer back. The telephone made conversation immediate, turning faraway voices into something that felt close and alive. Businesses could negotiate, confirm orders, and solve problems without waiting days for replies. Families could share news in real time, which changed how separation felt during travel, migration, or war. The sound itself mattered. Tone, hesitation, laughter, and emotion could ride the wire, restoring the human layer that written words often lose. Telephone networks also demanded new systems, including switchboards, operators, and later automated exchanges that routed calls upscale. Cities and rural areas became more connected, though access arrived unevenly. Over time, the phone reshaped etiquette, privacy, and even architecture, as homes and offices made space for ringing connections. A voice traveling through a line is more than convenience. It is presence, delivered at a distance. Radio broadcast sound to many at once and created shared moments. Radio turned the air into a stage where one voice could reach millions, even in places without newspapers or electricity at every home. Families gathered around sets to hear news bulletins, comedy hours, sports calls, and music that felt almost like a live visitor. In emergencies, radio could warn of storms, fires, and sudden danger, reaching people faster than messengers. It also became a tool of persuasion, for better and for worse, because a trusted voice can shape feelings as powerfully as facts. Radio created new careers, from announcers to sound engineers, and it influenced music itself, since performers learned what sounded best through speakers. The most striking effect was communal time. Entire neighborhoods listened together, then talked about the same program the next morning. A shared signal, created shared memory. Television merged sound and image and reshaped politics and entertainment. When pictures joined voices, storytelling gained a new kind of persuasion. Television did not just report events. It showed faces, gestures, and reactions, which made distant people feel familiar. Entertainment shifted as living rooms became small theaters, and families planned evenings around scheduled programs. Advertising transformed too, because a product could be demonstrated, dramatized, and repeated until it felt like part of everyday life. Politics changed in a profound way. Candidates were no longer only read about or heard on radio. They were watched, judged on presence, calm, and clarity under lights. Major events became collective experiences, with crowds reacting together to the same images. Television also shaped culture across borders, exporting shows, styles, and expectations. It could teach and inspire, and it could distract and manipulate, often at the same time. A glowing box made the world feel closer, and it also competed for attention like nothing before it. The phonograph preserved music and made performances repeatable. Before recording, a performance was a one-time event. When the last note faded, it lived only in memory. The phonograph changed that by capturing sound as a physical trace, first on cylinders and later on discs, so music could be played back again and again. This altered how people heard art. A singer's voice could travel to homes that would never host a concert. Musicians could become famous far beyond their local audience, and styles could spread rapidly between cities and countries. Recording also encouraged new kinds of listening, private and focused, rather than only public and communal. It created an industry of labels, studios, and distribution, plus a new question about ownership of sound. The phonograph even changed performance itself, because artists began to adapt to microphones and playback. A machine that scratches grooves into a surface seems simple, yet it turned fleeting air vibrations into something that could outlast its maker. Motion pictures captured time on film and created a new art. A photograph freezes one moment, but motion pictures string moments together until time itself seems to move. Early films amazed audiences with ordinary scenes: a train arriving, a worker leaving a factory, a dancer spinning. Then, filmmakers discovered editing, lighting, and framing, and a new language was born. Stories could be told without words, carried by expressions, movement, and rhythm. Newsreels brought distant events into local theaters, while fictional films created worlds that audiences could enter together in the dark. Film also became a historical record, preserving faces, streets, and customs that would otherwise vanish. As sound arrived, cinema gained dialogue, and music synchronized to action, deepening emotion and suspense. An industry grew around cameras, sets, costumes, and special effects, each invention feeding the next. Motion pictures did not only entertain. They taught people how to see, how to imagine, and how to remember. The camera turned light into memory and changed evidence and storytelling. When a camera records a scene, it gives a kind of permanence to what would otherwise be disputed or forgotten. Photography changed journalism by making images part of the story, not just descriptions. It changed science by documenting specimens, skies, and experiments with detail that drawings could miss. It changed family life too, turning milestones into albums that could be shared across generations. The camera also reshaped justice and accountability, since images could support claims, challenge lies, and reveal conditions that powerful people preferred hidden. Yet it introduced new questions, because framing can mislead, and later manipulation could distort. Even so, the basic act remains astonishing. A lens gathers light, focuses it, and fixes it onto a surface so a moment can be revisited. Cameras taught society to value documentation, and they expanded storytelling beyond words. A snapshot can travel faster than rumor, and it can linger longer than memory. The typewriter sped writing and reshaped offices and publishing. Handwriting is personal, but it varies, and it can be hard to read at speed. The typewriter replaced individual script with uniform letters, making documents clearer and more professional. It also increased output. A skilled typist could produce pages quickly, with consistent spacing that made copying and filing easier. Businesses adopted typed forms, contracts and reports, and office work expanded as a result. Publishing changed too, because manuscripts became more legible, easier to edit, and faster to send. The typewriter influenced writing style in subtle ways, encouraging shorter sentences and cleaner structure that suited the machine's rhythm. It also opened new employment paths, especially for women, as typing became a valued skill in growing bureaucracies. The sound mattered as well. The clack of keys became the heartbeat of modern administration. A mechanical keyboard may seem humble, yet it helped build the paper systems that ran industries, governments, and media for generations. The ballpoint pen made ink portable and put writing anywhere. Ink once came with fuss, spills, blotting, and pens that demanded careful care. The ballpoint pen simplified writing into a ready tool that could travel in a pocket without leaking easily. Its tiny rolling ball delivers ink in a controlled film, which makes quick notes possible on trains, streets, classrooms, and work sites. That portability changed habits. People could sign forms on the spot, label objects instantly, and capture ideas before they disappeared. Businesses benefited from faster paperwork, and schools gained an everyday writing tool that did not require bottles of ink. Ballpoints also pushed manufacturing precision, since a reliable tip depends on tight tolerances and smooth motion. Over time, the pen became almost invisible because it is everywhere. Yet its impact is real. A world that can write anywhere, can organize faster, remember more, and communicate with fewer barriers. Sometimes convenience is a quiet revolution. The postal system made trust travel and connected distant communities. A letter is more than paper. It is a promise that something you send will arrive, even if you never meet the carrier or the recipient's town. Postal systems created that trust through routes, schedules, sorting methods, and standards for addresses and postage. This reliability connected families separated by work or migration, and it allowed businesses to operate across regions with invoices, samples, and contracts. It also supported government administration, since laws, notices, and records could be distributed predictably. Over time, post offices became community anchors, places where news arrived and connections were maintained. The system required logistics long before modern computers, with bags, stamps, and trained workers moving through weather and conflict. It also encouraged literacy, because writing became useful in everyday life. A functioning postal service turns geography into a smaller problem. It lets relationships persist across distance, and it makes society feel stitched together rather than scattered. Concrete let cities rise durable and changed architecture across millennia. Concrete looks plain, yet it is a recipe that turns loose stone into solid possibility. Mix a binder with water and aggregate, then it hardens into a mass that can be poured into almost any shape. Ancient builders used early forms to create floors, harbors, and domes that still astonish engineers today. Modern reinforced concrete went further, because steel inside it handles tension while the concrete handles compression. That partnership made bridges longer, tunnels stronger, and buildings taller, without relying only on cut stone. It also made construction faster, since forms could be set, poured, and repeated across projects. Whole neighborhoods could rise with a consistent material that resists fire and weather in ways wood cannot. When concrete became common, the skyline became less limited by quarrying and more driven by imagination and planning. The arch spread weight elegantly and made bridges and aqueducts possible. An arch is a clever bargain with gravity. Instead of fighting straight-down force with a flat beam, it redirects weight into compression along a curve, then pushes it safely into supports at the sides. That shift makes stone behave like it wants to cooperate, because stone is strong when squeezed. With arches, builders could span gaps, carry roads over valleys, and deliver water across miles without a riverbed path. Aqueducts used repeated arches like a steady march, holding a gentle slope that kept water moving toward cities. Bridges gained endurance because the structure distributes load rather than asking one point to bear it all. The idea also scales. Small arches can hold doors and windows, while larger ones can carry whole crowds and carts. When you understand the arch, you understand why ancient engineering still feels modern, because it turns geometry into strength. Steelmaking at scale built railways and skyscrapers and reshaped skylines. Steel is not just strong metal. It is controlled chemistry, where carbon and heat are managed, so the result is tough, springy, and reliable. When steelmaking became scalable, builders gained beams that could carry heavy loads without the bulk of thick masonry walls. Railways relied on steel rails that could handle repeated pounding, and bridges relied on steel trusses that could stretch farther than stone spans. In cities, steel frames allowed buildings to rise upward while keeping lower floors open for shops, offices, and wide windows. This changed the look of streets, because height became practical for ordinary commercial buildings, not only for monuments. Steel also made machines more dependable, from ship hulls to factory tools, because parts could be stronger and thinner at the same time. When steel became abundant, the world gained a new skeleton, and architecture learned to think vertically. The elevator made tall buildings practical and transformed city density. Stairs are honest, but they punish height. For centuries, upper floors were cheaper because climbing them was tiring, and only the fit could live or work far above street level. The elevator inverted that logic. With a safe lift, height became desirable because higher floors offered light, air, and views without the daily climb. This changed real estate, office design, and the very idea of a downtown skyline. It also changed how buildings were engineered, since taller structures could now be filled with people and goods moving smoothly between levels. Elevators became systems, not just boxes. They needed safety brakes, counterweights, and careful control, so riders felt steady. Once vertical travel became routine, cities could grow upward instead of spreading endlessly outward. That density supported public transit, concentrated services, and made neighborhoods feel more connected. The elevator did not only lift people, it lifted the limits on what a city could become. The internal combustion engine turned fuel into motion and created car culture. This engine works like controlled thunder inside metal. Fuel and air mix, ignite, expand, and push a piston. Then that motion turns a crankshaft into rotation that can drive wheels. Compared with steam, it could be compact and quick to start, which made personal vehicles practical. Cars then reshaped daily life. Roads expanded, suburbs grew, and weekend travel became normal for many families. Businesses changed too, because trucks could deliver goods directly to shops without waiting on rail schedules. Entire industries rose around this power source, from oil drilling to repair garages to motels and roadside diners. The engine also brought new problems, including pollution and dependence on fuel supply chains. Still, Its impact is hard to overstate. It gave individuals a new kind of freedom, and it turned distance into a choice made with a key and a tank. The assembly line cut costs and time, and scaled consumer goods. Instead of one craftsperson building an object from start to finish, an assembly line breaks work into steps that flow past workers and machines. Each person repeats a small task, and the product advances like a moving promise. This can sound dull, yet it unlocked a startling result. Complex goods could be made faster, more consistently, and at a lower price, which put items like bicycles, radios, and cars within reach of far more households. It also reshaped labor. Skills shifted towards specialization, timing, and coordination, while managers learned to measure output and reduce bottlenecks. Quality control became a discipline because small errors could multiply across thousands of units. The assembly line even changed design itself, since products were redesigned to be assembled efficiently. It is a method that turns time into a material you can save, then spend on producing more of the modern world. The airplane turned oceans into hours and reshaped war and travel. For most of history, crossing an ocean meant weeks of waiting, weather, and uncertainty. Airplanes shattered that scale, lifting people and cargo above mountains and seas with a speed that feels like a new sense. Travel changed first. Families could visit across continents, business could happen face-to-face, and tourism became possible for millions who would never have boarded a ship. War changed too, because reconnaissance could watch enemy movement, and aircraft could strike far beyond front lines. Aviation demanded new systems, including airports, air traffic control, navigation aids, and training that treats weather as both partner and threat. It also created a culture of time zones and tight connections, where missing a flight can reshape a whole day. The airplane is more than a machine with wings. It is a global shortcut, and it made the planet feel smaller, more reachable, and sometimes more vulnerable. The jet engine made long-distance flight routine and shrank the planet. Propellers can fly fast, but jets changed speed into something that could be sustained at high altitude for long stretches. A jet engine compresses air, mixes it with fuel, ignites it, and expels it as a rushing stream that pushes the aircraft forward. That steady thrust made intercontinental routes practical on the schedule that people could trust. It also changed the economics of flying. More passengers could be carried farther in less time, which helped air travel move from rare luxury toward common experience. Jet-age airports became hubs that linked cities like spokes on a wheel, and global business adapted to meetings separated by a single night. Culture traveled faster too, with music, fashion, and news moving alongside people. Jets also pushed materials and engineering forward because engines run hot and demand precision. When jets arrived, distance did not vanish, but it lost its power to isolate. The helicopter added vertical flight and changed rescue and transport. A helicopter does something airplanes cannot. It can hover, rise straight up, and land in places with no runway. That ability turned rooftops, ships, and mountain clearings into usable destinations. In rescue work, helicopters can reach stranded hikers, flood victims, and crash sites when roads are blocked or non-existent. In medicine, they can move patients to trauma care fast enough to change outcomes. They also transformed industry. Crews can inspect power lines, reach offshore platforms, and move equipment to remote sites without building new roads. Flying a helicopter is demanding because stability must be actively managed and weather can make hovering tricky. That challenge led to innovations in rotors, controls, and pilot training. The helicopter is a machine built for awkward spaces, and its gift is access. It brings help to places that once felt unreachable, and it turns vertical space into a working route. The shipping container standardized cargo and supercharged global trade. Before containers, cargo was often loaded piece by piece, which took time and invited damage and theft. Standard containers turned goods into sealed blocks that could move smoothly between ships, trains, and trucks. A crane can lift one unit in minutes, and that speed changes the cost of moving everything from toys to electronics to grain. Ports redesigned themselves around container stacks, rail links, and computerized tracking, which reshaped coastlines and logistics jobs. Businesses could source parts globally with more confidence because schedules became more predictable and handling became safer. Containerization also changed manufacturing strategy. Companies could split production across countries, then assemble products where it made the most sense. The result was a new scale of trade that made distant markets feel near. A steel box does not look inspiring, yet it is a quiet revolution in organization. It made the world more connected through standard size, standard handling, and standard trust. The bicycle made personal travel efficient and changed cities and health. Two wheels in line look simple, yet they solve a remarkable problem. They turn human muscle into smooth motion with far less effort than walking, and they do it with almost no fuel beyond breakfast. For workers, bicycles widened the circle of reachable jobs and markets, and for students, they widened the circle of reachable schools. Cities felt the change too. Streets began to accommodate lighter, quieter traffic, and cycling clubs helped shape early road improvements. Health followed along, because regular riding builds endurance without demanding a gym or a coach. Bicycles also offered independence to people who could not afford horses or cars, and they became symbols of personal freedom in many movements. Even today, they remain one of the most energy-efficient machines ever popularized. A bicycle does not roar or flash. It simply multiplies a person's range, and that quiet multiplication changes lives. The subway moved crowds underground and made megacities workable. When streets fill with carts, cars, and pedestrians, the surface can only carry so much. The subway solves that by adding a second layer to a city, a moving corridor beneath the noise. Trains can arrive every few minutes, carrying thousands of people without taking up precious road space. This changes how cities grow. Neighborhoods can spread outward along lines, and downtown areas can densify because workers can still arrive quickly. It also changes the pace of daily life, since commuting becomes predictable enough to plan meetings, school runs, and deliveries. Building subways is difficult work, with tunneling, ventilation, drainage, and safety systems that must hold up for decades. Yet the reward is extraordinary. A city gains hidden arteries that keep it alive, even when the surface is crowded. The subway is not only transport. It is urban breathing room, carved into earth and rock. The traffic light turned chaos into flow and reduced deadly crashes. At a busy intersection, every driver wants the same space at the same time. Before signals, that often meant hesitation, shouting, or sudden lunges forward, and accidents were an accepted cost of movement. Traffic lights introduced a shared agreement with clear turns that make behavior predictable. Predictability is safety. When you know who goes next, you can look, pause, and proceed with confidence. Lights also make cities faster, not slower, because organized movement reduces gridlock that comes from constant negotiation. Over time, signals gained timed sequences, sensors, and coordinated patterns that create green waves along major roads. Emergency vehicles gained preemption systems, and pedestrians gained dedicated crossings that treat walking as traffic too. A traffic light is a small box on a pole, yet it is a public promise. It says, "We will take turns, and we will survive our shared streets." The safety belt turned accidents survivable, and saved millions of drivers. A crash happens in fractions of a second, but the body keeps moving at the car's original speed. The safety belt answers that harsh physics by spreading stopping force across strong parts of the body and by preventing impact with the dashboard, windshield, or road. Modern designs lock during sudden deceleration, and many include pretensioners that tighten at the moment of collision. This one device changed the meaning of a mistake. A lapse of attention became more likely to end in bruises than funerals. Seatbelts also worked hand in hand with other safety features, because airbags are meant to cushion a restrained person, not replace restraint. Over time, laws and public campaigns pushed adoption, and crash tests made the benefits undeniable. The belt is not dramatic. It is an everyday habit, clicked without thought. Yet that click is a decision to respect momentum and to give your future self a chance to walk away. The bicycle chain transferred power smoothly and inspired later machinery. Gears and levers can move things, but a chain drive adds a special trick. It lets rotating power travel from one place to another without slipping, even when the path must bend around sprockets. On a bicycle, that means your legs can turn a comfortable cadence, while the rear wheel receives strong, efficient drive. It also means you can change gear ratios, trading speed for hill climbing with a simple shift. Once chain drives proved reliable, the concept spread into machines that needed flexible power transfer, from early motorcycles to factory equipment. Chains also teach an engineering lesson about wear and maintenance. Lubrication matters, alignment matters, and small tolerances create big differences in efficiency and noise. In daily life, the chain is almost invisible, yet it is the reason a bicycle feels effortless when it is tuned. A loop of metal links becomes a bridge between human strength and mechanical advantage. The pneumatic tire softened roads and made vehicles faster and safer. A hard wheel on a rough road wastes energy and punishes both rider and machine. Pneumatic tires changed that by putting air to work as a spring. The tire deforms over bumps, then returns shape, smoothing motion and keeping more contact with the ground. That contact improves grip, which means better braking, steadier turning, and fewer dangerous skids. Comfort improved too, which made longer journeys practical and reduced fatigue for cyclists and drivers. Tires also reduced damage to roads and vehicles, since impacts were no longer sharp jolts. Over time, rubber chemistry, tread patterns, and steel belting refined durability and performance for different conditions, from rain to heat to heavy loads. The pneumatic tire is easy to overlook because it is everywhere. Yet it is one of the key reasons modern transport feels ordinary. Air, trapped and controlled, became a partner in safety, speed, and endurance. The gasoline pump standardized fueling and enabled widespread car travel. Early motorists often bought fuel from cans, barrels, or general stores, and quality could be uncertain. The gasoline pump turned fueling into a repeatable transaction, with measured quantities, safer handling, and dedicated infrastructure along roads. That standardization matters because travel depends on trust. You need confidence that fuel will be available, that it will work, and that you can buy the amount you need without waste. Pump design also improved safety by reducing spills and fumes, and by separating storage tanks from the act of dispensing. As stations spread, they changed the geography of movement. Long trips became less risky, roadside services grew, and new businesses clustered around reliable stops. The pump also shaped habits. Drivers began to plan routes by refueling points, and communities became linked by networks of stations like beads on a string. It is not a glamorous invention, yet it turned the car from a local novelty into a practical tool for everyday distance. The electric motor turned current into motion and powered countless machines. Once electricity could be delivered reliably, the next question was how to turn it into useful work. The electric motor answers with a beautiful exchange between magnetic fields and moving parts. Feed it current, and it spins with steady torque, often with less maintenance than engines that burn fuel. That reliability made motors perfect for factories, where one motor could drive a single machine precisely, rather than powering an entire building from one central shaft. In homes, motors quietly took over chores, running fans, mixers, washing machines, and vacuum cleaners. In cities, they opened the door to elevators, trams, and tools that could be started instantly without smoke or warm-up time. Motors also scale well. Tiny ones vibrate a phone, and giant ones turn pumps and compressors in industry. The electric motor is a translator. It turns invisible flow into tangible movement, and it does it with a calm steadiness that modern life depends on. The battery stored energy to move later and made portability possible. A battery is like bottled electricity, ready when you need it rather than only when a generator is running. That changed everything that had to travel. Flashlights, radios, and medical devices could work away from outlets, and vehicles could start reliably with an electric spark. Batteries also reshaped emergency life, keeping communication and lighting available during storms and blackouts. As chemistry improved, batteries became smaller and more powerful, which made truly portable electronics realistic. Phones could be carried all day. Laptops could leave the desk. Tools could work on rooftops and in fields. Each improvement also brought new trade-offs, including cost, resource mining, and recycling challenges that societies are still learning to handle responsibly. The core idea remains astonishing. You charge something quietly, then later it releases energy on demand, as if time itself is being folded and stored. Batteries make modern mobility feel natural, and they do it by turning electricity into a carryable reserve. The power grid linked generators to homes and made electricity dependable. Electricity is only transformative when it arrives consistently, safely, and at the flip of a switch. The power grid made that possible by connecting generators, substations, transformers, and transmission lines into a coordinated network. Transformers play a crucial role, stepping voltage up for long-distance travel, then stepping it down for safe use in neighborhoods. This system lets power be produced where it is efficient, then shared widely, smoothing shortages and supporting growth. It also demands constant balance, because supply must match demand in real time as people cook dinner, turn on air conditioning, or charge devices. Grids changed industry by supporting reliable machinery, and they changed home life by making lighting, heating, and appliances practical for millions. They also created new vulnerabilities, since storms and failures can cascade if systems are not resilient. Still, the grid is one of humanity's largest machines, stretching across landscapes like a nervous system. It makes modern life feel steady by making electricity a shared, managed resource. The light bulb extended productive hours and changed nightlife and factories. Before electric lighting, most people lived by the strict timing of sunrise and sunset, with candles and oil lamps offering only small islands of light. Electric bulbs made illumination steady, bright, and scalable, which transformed how streets, shops, and homes felt after dark. Factories could run longer shifts, and workers could read and study without soot and open flames. Cities also became safer in many places because lit sidewalks reduced the cover of darkness for theft and accidents. The light bulb changed architecture too, since rooms no longer needed to huddle around a single smoky lamp. It also changed culture, creating theaters, restaurants, and social spaces that truly came alive at night. Most of all, it reshaped expectation. Once people tasted reliable light, darkness stopped feeling like a schedule and started feeling like a choice. The diode guided electricity one way and enabled modern electronics. Electricity is powerful, yet it can be unruly if it is allowed to slosh back and forth without control. A diode acts like a one-way gate, allowing current to pass in a preferred direction while blocking it in reverse. That simple behavior made it possible to convert alternating current into direct current, which is essential for many devices that need steady power. It also helped signals become clearer in radios, where detecting a faint broadcast depends on precise control of counts. As electronics grew more complex, diodes took on many roles, protecting circuits from voltage spikes, shaping waveforms, and steering energy where it should go. Some diodes emit light, some sense light, and some switch at high speeds, each tuned for a different job. The idea is small, but it is foundational. A one-way rule made messy electricity behave like a trained messenger. The integrated circuit packed components together and accelerated computing wildly. Early electronic machines were built from many separate parts, wired by hand, tested one connection at a time. Integrated circuits changed that by placing many components onto a single piece of material, creating a compact, reliable system where distances became tiny and signals could move faster. This reduced failures caused by loose connections, and it allowed devices to shrink while gaining capability. The real magic is density. When more functions fit into less space, designers can build machines that respond quickly and do more with the same power. Integrated circuits also lowered cost over time, because once a design is mastered, it can be produced in enormous quantities with consistent results. That consistency transformed everything from calculators to medical equipment. It also changed the pace of innovation, since each new generation could build on the last without rebuilding from scratch. A whole circuit became a single object, and the world sped up. The microprocessor put a computer on one chip and changed everything. A microprocessor concentrates the logic of computing into a compact brain, capable of following instructions at astonishing speed. Instead of rooms full of hardware, you could have a general-purpose computer core, small enough to fit inside everyday products. This shift sparked a new era of invention, because once computing became cheap and compact, it could be embedded almost anywhere. Kitchen appliances gained timers and sensors, cars gained engine control systems, and toys gained responsive behavior that felt almost alive. Personal computers became realistic for homes and schools, which opened new ways to learn, work, and create. The microprocessor also made software more powerful, since programmers could rely on standardized chips that behaved predictably. Over time, faster designs and better manufacturing packed more performance into less space and less energy. The result is a strange new normal. We live among countless quiet computers, many of them unnoticed, each running tiny decisions that keep modern life coordinated. The laser produced coherent light and transformed surgery and communication. Most light is scattered, with waves that do not line up neatly. A laser creates light that is coherent and highly focused, which makes it behave like a precise tool rather than a glow. That precision opened doors in medicine, where surgeons can cut or cauterize with fine control, and in EI procedures, where careful shaping can restore vision. Lasers also became vital in manufacturing, cutting and engraving materials with accuracy that hand tools cannot match. In science, they allow measurements of distance and motion with extraordinary sensitivity. Lasers even changed entertainment, from barcode scanners to light shows that paint patterns in the air. In communication, lasers made it possible to send information as light through carefully engineered paths, pushing data transfer into a new realm of speed. The wonder is that it all begins with a rule. Make light march in step, and it becomes a beam that can measure, heal, and transmit. Fiber optics carried data as light and made fast internet possible. Sending information through metal wires works, but signals can weaken, pick up noise, and face limits as demand grows. Fiber optics took a different path by guiding light through thin strands of glass, where it bounces along the interior and travels long distances with low loss. Because the signal is light, it can carry enormous amounts of information, which is why modern networks depend on it for everything from streaming video to global finance. Fiber links also resist electromagnetic interference, which helps data stay clean and reliable. The physical cable is surprisingly slender, yet it can connect continents through undersea routes that cross oceans. This technology changed what people expect from communication. Video calls feel normal, huge files move quickly, and real-time collaboration can happen across the world. It is easy to picture the internet as something abstract, but fiber optics reveal its physical spine. Much of the modern world rides on beams of light trapped inside glass. GPS turned satellites into location and changed navigation and logistics. Finding your position used to require maps, landmarks, and careful judgment, and mistakes could be costly. GPS changed that by using signals from orbiting satellites, allowing a receiver to calculate position by timing how long those signals take to arrive. With that, navigation became immediate. Drivers can reroute around traffic, hikers can find trails in fog, and ships can track routes with far greater precision. Logistics transformed too. Companies can monitor fleets, predict arrival times, and coordinate deliveries with tighter schedules. GPS also supports time synchronization in many systems, because precise timing is part of how the location is computed. That hidden timing keeps networks and services running smoothly. The technology does bring challenges, including dependence, spoofing risks, and the temptation to stop learning spatial skills. Still, its everyday impact is astonishing. The sky became a reference frame you can carry in your hand, and that turned wandering into certainty. The barcode made checkout fast and tracked goods across supply chains. A barcode is a pattern that looks simple, yet it encodes identity in a form machines can read instantly. When scanners became common, checkout lines sped up because prices and product codes no longer needed to be typed by hand. That reduced errors and made inventory far more accurate, since each scan could update stock in real time. Warehouses gained a new kind of visibility, tracking items from arrival to shelf and spotting shortages before they became crises. This also changed manufacturing and shipping, because standardized codes made it easier to coordinate between companies that had never met. Barcodes helped reduce waste, prevent misshipments, and support recalls when safety issues appeared. They even shaped design, since packaging needed space for a readable label. The marvel is that this system is both humble and global. A few black lines can connect a farm, a factory, a ship, and a store, all through one quick beep. The ATM put banking on streets and changed cash access worldwide. Banking once required visiting a branch during limited hours, standing in line, and relying on staff to complete simple transactions. The ATM changed that by placing secure cash access in public spaces, making money available after hours and across cities. This shifted habits quickly. People could withdraw smaller amounts as needed, reducing the need to carry large sums. Travelers gained freedom, since cash could be obtained in unfamiliar places without planning around bank schedules. ATMs also pushed security systems forward, from encrypted communication to PIN verification and fraud detection. They reshaped staffing and branch design as routine withdrawals moved to machines while banks focused on other services. There is also a psychological change. Money became something you could summon, not something you had to request. That convenience is powerful, and it helped modern commerce move faster. An ATM is a small kiosk, yet it quietly extended the banking system into daily life. Cryptography made private communication possible and secures modern commerce. When messages travel, they can be intercepted, copied, and altered, unless there is a way to hide meaning from anyone without permission. Cryptography provides that protection by transforming readable information into coded form, then allowing only the right key to unlock it. This makes online shopping possible because payment details can be protected while they move between a device and a server. It also protects personal messages, business plans, and medical records, keeping sensitive information from casual spying and organized theft. Cryptography does more than hide content. It can confirm identity, verify that data was not changed, and prove that a message truly came from where it claims. This is the invisible trust layer beneath modern digital life. Without it, many services would collapse under fraud and fear. The remarkable part is that it is built from logic and mathematics, yet it feels like a human promise. It says you can speak across distance and still keep something sacred. The search engine organized the web and made knowledge instantly findable. In the early web, finding anything useful could feel like wandering a library with no catalog. A search engine changed that by building maps of pages, then ranking what you see when you ask a question. Suddenly, a student could jump from curiosity to sources in seconds, and a small business could be discovered without buying a billboard. Search also reshaped how people write online, because creators learned to name things clearly so they could be found. It created new power too. What appears first can influence what people believe is true, popular, or important. That pushed the rise of spam, advertising auctions, and constant battles to surface reliable information. Search engines became a daily reflex, used for recipes, symptoms, history, directions, and definitions. Once you can ask the world a question at any moment, ignorance becomes less about access and more about attention. The spreadsheet turned math into grids and reshaped business decisions. A spreadsheet looks like simple boxes, yet it is a thinking tool that makes complexity feel manageable. Rows and columns let you place numbers where you can see them, compare them, and change them without rewriting everything. A budget becomes a living model. Adjust one assumption, and totals update like dominoes falling in orderly lines. This changed work across countless fields because people could test scenarios quickly, spot errors, and explain choices with visible logic. It also changed responsibility. When planning becomes easy, expectations rise, and decisions become more data-driven, at least in appearance. Spreadsheets can be powerful and dangerous in the same breath. A small mistake can travel through formulas and produce confident nonsense, which is why careful checking became a modern skill. Still, the core gift remains. A grid can turn messy information into a map you can explore, and that makes planning feel less like guessing. The database made information retrievable at scale and powered modern services. When information lives in piles of paper or scattered files, it can be hard to trust and hard to search. A database solves that by organizing data into structured records, then answering queries quickly and consistently. That is why so many everyday services work smoothly. A hospital can pull up a patient record, a store can check inventory, and a flight system can track seats without losing its mind. Databases also protect integrity through rules, permissions, and backups, so data can be shared without becoming chaos. They make it possible to connect information from many sources, which can reveal patterns and drive automation. At the same time, they raise new risks. Whoever controls the database can shape what is known, what is forgotten, and what is exposed. The modern world runs on retrieval. When you can ask a system for the right detail at the right moment, whole industries become possible. Open-source software spread tools freely and accelerated innovation worldwide. Most inventions spread faster when people can inspect them, improve them, and share the improvements. Open-source software applies that idea to code, making programs and building blocks available for others to use, study, and modify. This created a powerful ecosystem where strangers collaborate across borders, fixing bugs, adding features, and reviewing each other's work. Startups can build products without reinventing basic components, and researchers can share tools that make experiments reproducible. Open source also changes trust. When code is visible, mistakes and backdoors can be noticed, although visibility does not guarantee safety. It creates a new kind of reputation too, where a person's contributions become a public record of skill and reliability. Communities form around projects with debates, leadership, and shared values. The result is a quiet engine of progress. When the tools of creation are shared, more people can create, and innovation becomes a crowd effort instead of a closed room. The touchscreen turned glass into controls and remade human interfaces. Buttons and knobs are physical, but they lock devices into fixed layouts. A touch screen replaces that with a surface that can change its role instantly. The same rectangle can become a keyboard, a map, a sketchpad, a mixing console, or a remote control, depending on what you need. This made devices more flexible and more approachable because tapping feels direct and intuitive for many people. It also changed design language. Icons, swipes, and gestures became new forms of literacy that children can learn before they can read. Touchscreens reshaped accessibility too, enabling features like large text, zoom, and on-screen controls that adapt to different bodies. There are trade-offs. Touch lacks the feel of a physical click, and it can invite distraction when everything is one tap away. Still, the shift is profound. A sheet of glass became a stage for countless tools, and it made interaction feel less like operating a machine and more like moving through ideas. Wi-Fi untethered computers from cables and changed homes and offices. A wired connection can be fast and steady, yet it ties you to a place like an anchor. Wi-Fi broke that constraint by sending data through radio waves, letting devices connect across rooms without a physical link. This changed how buildings are used. A kitchen table became a workspace, a cafe became an office, and a classroom gained new flexibility for learning. It also changed device design, because laptops, tablets, and smart gadgets could be built for movement instead of docking. Wi-Fi enabled new habits that feel normal now, like streaming anywhere in the house and updating software without thinking about plugs and ports. It also introduced new vulnerabilities because wireless signals can be intercepted if security is weak. That pushed the widespread use of encryption and password practices in everyday life. Wi-Fi is freedom with a rulebook. It made the network feel like an invisible utility you can step into, almost like light in the air. The cloud moved storage off devices and made computing scalable. For a long time, your files and programs lived where your hands could touch them, on your own machine. The cloud changed that by shifting storage and computing to remote data centers, reachable through the network whenever you need them. This created a new kind of flexibility. A photo taken on one device can appear on another, and a team can work on the same document without emailing versions back and forth. Businesses gained scalability too. Instead of buying new servers for a busy season, they can rent capacity, then release it when demand falls. The cloud also changed resilience, because data can be mirrored across locations, protecting against local failures. Yet it raises questions of trust and control. If your work lives elsewhere, you depend on providers, policies, and security practices you cannot fully see. The cloud is convenience built on infrastructure, and infrastructure always has politics. Still, it made computing feel less like owning a machine and more like accessing a service. And that shift reshaped the digital economy. The digital camera removed film limits and reshaped photography overnight. Film demanded patience and scarcity. You had a limited number of shots, each one cost money, and you would not know the result until later. A digital camera replaced that with instant feedback and near limitless experimentation. You can take a photo, review it, adjust, and try again, which changes how people learn and how artists take risks. Photography became more democratic because casual snapshots no longer required buying and developing rolls. Sharing sped up too, since images could travel as files rather than physical prints. Digital sensors also opened new uses beyond family albums, including scientific imaging, security, journalism, and fast documentation of events as they unfold. This shift came with new challenges. When images are easy to edit and duplicate, questions of authenticity grow sharper, and archives can vanish if storage fails. Even so, the transformation is clear. Digital photography turned moments into data, and data moves quickly. It changed memory into something both abundant and fragile, and it made the world more visually recorded than ever before. Three-dimensional printing builds objects layer by layer and changes prototyping. Traditional manufacturing often requires molds, machining, and specialized tools, which makes experimentation slow and expensive. Three-dimensional printing flips that by building a shape from the bottom up, adding material in thin layers according to a digital design. This makes prototypes fast. An engineer can test a part, notice a flaw, revise the model, and print a new version without retooling a factory. It also allows complex shapes that are difficult to carve or cast, including internal channels and lightweight lattices. Designers can customize objects for individual needs, from ergonomic grips to medical models that match a patient's anatomy. Classrooms and small workshops gained access to making that once belonged only to large industry. There are limits in speed, material strength, and scale, yet the direction is powerful. When you can turn an idea into a physical object within hours, invention gains a new tempo. Three-dimensional printing does not replace all manufacturing, but it changes who can try and how quickly they can learn. CRISPR made gene editing precise and opened new medical possibilities. For decades, editing genes was possible, but it could be slow, expensive, and difficult to aim accurately. CRISPR changed that by using a guide sequence to bring a cutting tool to a specific spot in DNA, like a molecular address label. Once the cut is made, cells can repair it, and that repair can disable a gene or introduce a desired change. This precision opened intense new possibilities in research, agriculture, and medicine. Scientists can study diseases by editing cells to mimic mutations, then watching what changes in behavior. Therapies are being developed to correct harmful genetic errors, which offers hope for conditions once considered unchangeable. The power also demands caution. Editing raises ethical questions about consent, fairness, and unintended consequences, especially when changes could be inherited. CRISPR is a tool that invites both awe and responsibility. It gives humanity a more direct way to rewrite biology, and it forces society to decide where the lines should be. The Haber-Bosch process fixed nitrogen and fed billions through fertilizer. In the air above every field, nitrogen is abundant, yet most plants cannot use it. The Haber-Bosch process solved that by binding nitrogen to hydrogen under high pressure and heat, producing ammonia that can be turned into fertilizers. This gave farmers a reliable way to replenish soil nutrients, even when land was farmed intensively year after year. Yields rose, famine risks fell, and population growth became less tightly chained to natural cycles of manure and crop rotation. The same chemistry also ties into darker chapters, because ammonia is a starting point for explosives, which shows how one breakthrough can serve many ends. The process demanded bold engineering, since it required strong reactors, catalysts, and careful control of temperature and pressure. It is an invention that sits behind everyday meals, quietly boosting the productivity of fields across the planet. The catalytic converter cleaned exhaust chemistry and reduced urban smog. Car exhaust contains gases that harm lungs and help form smog, including carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and unburned hydrocarbons. A catalytic converter tackles these by sending exhaust through a honeycomb coated with precious metals that speed up chemical reactions. In a three-way converter, carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons are oxidized into carbon dioxide and water, while nitrogen oxides are reduced into nitrogen. It is a remarkable trick because the device does not get consumed. It simply provides a surface where reactions happen more efficiently. The system also depends on good fuel and feedback control, which is why oxygen sensors and unleaded gasoline became important partners in cleaner air. Catalytic converters did not end pollution, yet they changed the baseline of what cities could tolerate. Many streets that once smelled sharply of exhaust became more breathable, and public health benefited from that chemical cleanup. The solar cell turned sunlight into electricity and changed energy choices. A solar cell is a device that turns photons into moving electrons, producing electricity directly from light. Inside, carefully prepared materials create an internal electric field, so when sunlight knocks electrons loose, they are guided into a usable current. This makes solar power modular. A single panel can charge a small device, while many panels can power homes and large facilities. Solar cells also thrive in remote places where fuel delivery is hard, from mountain stations to spacecraft that live beyond any power line. As manufacturing scaled, costs dropped, and solar became a serious competitor in energy planning. That shift affects more than bills. It changes geopolitics, air quality, and the resilience of communities that can generate power locally. Solar also invites a new way of thinking about roofs, parking lots, and deserts, turning them into quiet power plants. Light becomes a resource you can harvest without digging or drilling. The wind turbine harvests moving air and powers cities without fuel. Wind turbines capture kinetic energy from air, then convert it into electricity through a generator. The blades are shaped like aircraft wings, which lets them create lift and spin even when winds are not extreme. Modern turbines are tall because winds are steadier higher up, and long blades sweep a huge area, gathering more energy with each rotation. Wind power is variable, yet forecasting and grid management have improved, and turbines can be spread across regions to smooth local calm periods. Offshore wind adds another advantage, since sea winds can be strong and consistent. This technology also changes land use. Turbines can share space with farming and grazing, so electricity production does not always displace agriculture. Wind energy carries challenges, including visual impact, wildlife risks, and the need for transmission lines. Still, it offers electricity without combustion at the point of generation, and that helps reduce air pollution and greenhouse emissions. It is ancient wind power reborn as modern infrastructure. The desalination plant turns seawater drinkable and reshapes water security. Along many coastlines, water is abundant but undrinkable because salt makes it unsafe for most human use. Desalination plants solve that by separating fresh water from seawater, often using reverse osmosis, where pressure pushes water through membranes that block salts. Other methods use heat to evaporate water and condense it again, leaving salt behind. This can provide reliable supply for cities with limited rivers or groundwater, especially during drought. Desalination also comes with hard trade-offs. It requires energy, it needs careful maintenance, and it produces concentrated brine that must be managed to protect marine ecosystems. Still, for some regions, it is a lifeline that can stabilize growth and reduce conflict over scarce freshwater. It turns the ocean into a potential reservoir, though not a free one. In a warming world with shifting rainfall, that option can change what communities consider possible. The MRI made soft tissues visible and transformed modern diagnosis. MRI allows doctors to see inside the body with remarkable detail, especially in brain, muscle, and organs where X-rays are less revealing. It works by using a strong magnetic field and radio waves to influence the behavior of hydrogen atoms in water and fat. When the radio signal stops, those atoms relax in measurable ways, and the scanner reconstructs images from that response. The result is a detailed view without ionizing radiation, which is important for repeated imaging in many patients. MRI can show subtle differences between healthy and damaged tissue, and it can help detect tumors, strokes, ligament tears, and spinal problems. Special techniques can map blood flow and activity patterns, which has influenced neuroscience and surgical planning. The experience can be intense. The machine is loud, the space is narrow, and stillness matters. Yet the payoff is extraordinary, because it turns invisible internal structure into a readable map that guides treatment decisions. The pacemaker stabilized heart rhythms and gave time back to patients. The heart runs on electrical signals, and when that timing fails, the body can suffer from fatigue, dizziness, or sudden collapse. A pacemaker helps by delivering carefully timed pulses that prompt the heart to beat when it is too slow or irregular. Early devices were bulky, yet modern pacemakers are small, programmable, and responsive, adjusting pace based on activity. Some systems coordinate both sides of the heart to improve pumping efficiency in certain forms of heart failure. Implantation is a serious procedure, but it can be life-changing, turning unpredictable days into steady ones. Pacemakers also raise fascinating engineering challenges. Batteries must last for years, electronics must resist moisture and corrosion, and leads must flex with every movement. Follow-up visits allow doctors to fine-tune settings, almost like tuning an instrument. For many people, a pacemaker is not only a device. It is a return to ordinary life, with stairs climbed confidently and sleep taken without fear. The artificial limb restored movement and keeps improving with robotics. Prosthetic limbs began as simple replacements, yet modern designs aim for comfort, control, and natural motion. Materials like carbon fiber can be strong and light, storing and releasing energy in ways that help walking feel smoother. Myoelectric prostheses use signals from residual muscles, translating intent into hand or wrist movement, which can restore functional grips for daily tasks. Better sockets and liners reduce skin damage, while adjustable fittings help as bodies change over time. Some systems are exploring direct skeletal attachment, which can improve stability and reduce pressure, though it brings its own risks. Robotics and sensors add another layer, allowing knees to adapt to slopes and stumble recovery. The psychological impact matters too. Regaining mobility often restores independence, identity, and social confidence. Prosthetics are not a perfect substitute for biology, yet they are a powerful example of engineering meeting human need. Each improvement is a step toward movement that feels less like compensation and more like capability. The vaccine cold chain kept doses viable and enabled global immunization. Many vaccines are delicate, and heat can quietly weaken them until they no longer protect. The cold chain is the system that prevents that, keeping doses within safe temperature ranges from factory to clinic. It includes refrigerated storage, insulated carriers for transport, temperature monitors, and clear procedures for handling at every stop. This matters most in the last mile, where roads can be rough, electricity can be unreliable, and clinics may be far from cities. Cold chain planning can involve backup power, portable coolers, and careful scheduling so doses are not exposed during long waits. When it works, immunization campaigns can reach remote villages, crowded cities, and disaster zones with confidence that the medicine is still effective. When it fails, trust can be broken, and outbreaks can return. The cold chain is not just equipment. It is coordination, training, and accountability woven into logistics. It turns vaccination from a local promise into a global one. The scientific method made claims testable and turned curiosity into progress. Human beings are natural storytellers, and we can mistake confidence for truth. The scientific method counters that by asking for testable ideas, careful observation, and results that others can check. A claim becomes a hypothesis. A hypothesis leads to an experiment or a measurement designed to reduce bias and reveal what actually happens. When results are shared, others can replicate them, challenge them, or refine them, which turns knowledge into something communal rather than personal. This process does not guarantee instant answers, and it can be slow and humbling. Yet it has a unique strength. It rewards being wrong in useful ways because failed predictions point toward better models. Over time, the method has built reliable understanding in medicine, engineering, astronomy, and countless other fields. It is also a cultural invention, teaching societies to value evidence, transparency, and revision. In that sense, it is a tool for thinking, and it may be one of the most powerful tools ever created. As we come to the end of our journey, notice what we have really been listening to. Not a list of inventions, but a long chain of human moments, where someone looked at the world and saw a new possibility. We moved from the first turning wheel to the written word that could outlast a lifetime. We watched ideas spread through print, then race through wires, radios, screens, and networks. We followed heat into engines, engines into locomotives, and locomotives into flight, until oceans became something you could cross between meals. We stepped into workshops where water wheels and windmills borrowed strength from nature, then into cities shaped by concrete, steel, subways, and light after sunset. We listened to medicine become kinder and more capable, with anesthesia, antiseptics, imaging, and vaccines carried safely across the world. And we saw information become something you can summon, store, search, and protect, with chips, code, and cryptography humming behind the scenes. Now let all of that motion soften. Let the gears slow. Let the bright sparks fade into a steady glow. Feel your breathing settle into an easy rhythm. Let your jaw unclench. Let your shoulders drop as if they are finally allowed to rest. If you enjoyed drifting through history with me, you might like to subscribe or leave a kind comment so more sleepy listeners can find their way here. And if you are still awake, there will be another video waiting on the screen, ready to carry you onward. One more chapter, one more quiet adventure. For now, you have nothing to solve and nowhere to go. Just a calm mind, a resting body, and a world that can wait until morning. Sleep well and good night.